Hey, welcome to The Vibe. This is a show about anything, everything, and nothing. It's really just a collection of fun videos that we have for you. We're gonna laugh about things, we're gonna talk about things, and we're gonna play games together, because that's what The Vibe is all about, is having fun together. So we hope you enjoy. All right, so today we're gonna make some bread. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. First, we have to measure out our ingredients. I'm using a kitchen scale. Make sure to always set it to 0 every time you place an instrument on it. We're gonna measure out our yeast first. We need 1 gram of yeast, and so I'm just measuring it out here, and there it is, 1 gram of yeast. Look at that, I'm a magician. Next, we're gonna measure out our salt. We're gonna need 10 grams of salt for this batch. Again, don't forget to set your scale to 0 before you start measuring. So here we are measuring out salt. It's gonna take a moment, so bear with me. I'm just gonna talk through it. Here we are, measuring salt, me checking the scale. Wow, look at that, 10 grams of salt, perfect. And I don't know how to do a thumbs up on here, so you get the point, thumbs up. Now we're gonna measure our flour. We're gonna need 500 grams of flour today, and I'm using bread flour. The difference between bread flour and all-purpose flour is that it has more protein, which gives it its structure. So here I am struggling to get it to 500 exactly, and I just settle for $4.99 because you know what? It's close enough. We're gonna stick with $4.99. There you go. Next is our water. So the thing with the water, it's not just measurement, we have to measure the temperature. So first I have to measure the temperature of the flour just to get the room temperature, because that will determine the temperature you need your flour to be. So we're working with 73 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that we will need 70-degree water. So here I am adding cold water to this to try to get the temperature right, except it's a little bit hard to do it this way. I like using the sink, so that's what I'm going to do right now, is just go take it to the sink to get it to the right temperature. Once you have the right temperature, now you have to measure it out. We're working with 375 grams of water today, so I'm going to measure that out now. And boom. Next, we're gonna pour this water into our larger bowl with the yeast. And we're gonna stir it, swish it around with our fingers, yay! And then we're gonna let that set for a couple of minutes after it's done being swished. All right, now that it has set for a little bit, we're going to add our flour first, not salt, flour first, and then we're going to add the salt right on top of that. The salt will mess up the yeast if you pour it right on, so make sure you put flour first, and then we're gonna mix it all up with our hands. Yes, our hands. It's okay to get a little bit dirty, but I'm gonna speed it up, so here goes. All right, and if you notice, I'm adding water because I accidentally mixed up the waters when I was measuring them, and I didn't put enough water. So don't do this if you've never made bread before. I'm just eyeballing it here just to add the proper amount of water. And once that's all mixed, we're gonna take a cutting board with flour on it, and I'm just gonna dump all that doughy goodness onto this board, so that way we're able to fold our dough to get to the next step. So here it goes, onto the board, and perfect. And so we're gonna do a fold. So we're gonna fold it in a clock pattern, so 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then you'll repeat that step until the dough is formed. So only like 2 to 3 times is needed, and that's it. The dough will then go into the bowl in which it came from, and then once it's in the bowl, you're gonna place a floured kitchen towel on top of it, which a floured kitchen towel is just a kitchen towel with flour spread on top of it. So yeah, you'll take that kitchen towel, put it on top, and that's gonna sit there for 12 hours. Yay! After 12 hours, you're going to take your dough and you are going to put it on the cutting board again. Don't worry, it's not the same cutting board from yesterday. I washed it. But yeah, you're going to place it right on the cutting board once it gets out of the bowl. Sometimes it gets stuck, but you're just going to work with it as best you can. Next, we're going to do a simple letter fold. So it's just folding the bottom in to the top and then again, just rotating it bottom, top. And you're gonna do that 2 to 3 times once the dough is firm enough. So I'm gonna speed this part up. Now we take our dough and we're gonna put it in a bread basket to proof. So you just need any normal basket. Use the same floured kitchen towel to place in there. Place your dough in there and then place a second floured kitchen towel over the top. And now it's gonna sit in there for an hour to an hour and a half, depending on rising. Once it's risen, you're gonna take it, you're gonna check it, poke it a few times, see if it's ready. Once it's ready, you're gonna place it into your Dutch oven, which is what I have here. And my Dutch oven actually has been, while it's been proofing, has been in the oven getting warm. So oven's gonna be 475 and you're gonna place it back into the oven. 25 minutes later, you're gonna pull it out of the oven and pull off the top and put it back in the oven. 10 minutes later, you're gonna pull it out of the oven and you're gonna place it onto a wire rack to cool off. Here we have our finished loaf of bread, and honestly, this bread turned out a lot better than what I thought it was gonna be, even with the little mess ups that I had made. But I hope you go and make your own bread. If you do, please tag us on Instagram at V1Youth and with the hashtag V1Youth bread making. So we hope you go out and make your own bread, and I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. And let's continue on with the rest of this show. I want to tell you a story. So back in high school, which was several years ago, I was probably like a sophomore or a junior in high school. We lived in this apartment complex and I would often come home from school and I would be by myself. And there was this one time that I got home and I don't know why, but I was looking for a lighter. I really couldn't tell you why. I don't know if I was lighting a candle or trying to burn something down, but anyway, I was looking for a lighter. And so I went through all the cabinets and just trying to find a lighter. And I went through the drawers, like our junk drawer, you know, the drawer with all the junk in it, that drawer, we had several of those. So I went through all the junk drawers, I went through the cabinets, and then I went like above the stove to go look for one. And so I looked, I said, you know, maybe we might. And I was like diehard, like trying to find a lighter. And it was probably for something stupid, like I'm telling you. And so I finally, I go to this last cabinet and I open it up and I see this little thing that says Spitfire on it. And so I said, sure, that's a lighter. And so I go to grab it and I was like, you know what, I've never actually seen a lighter like this, but it said fire on it and it had like the locking mechanism, or like, you know, like when you have like one of those lighters that looks like that. You know what I'm talking about? When you have a lighter that looks like that and it like locks and clicks and then it like lights, that thing. That's what it looked like. It had one of those things on it. And so I said, you know what? This has to be lighter. It says fire, it has a thing on it, and it looks a little different than lighter, but I don't know, maybe it's some sort of fancy lighter. So I take it as I'm like standing on the counter with the cabinet open. I'm like, click it and it goes, shh, and this like gust of air just comes out of it. And so I'm like, that's not a lighter. So I put it back in and I closed the cabinets and I sat down. And as I sat down, I just feel my eyes just start watering. all down my face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? Like what was that thing? Like did I just shoot out poison out of this thing? And then I couldn't breathe, and I was like, my throat was on fire, and I'm like, my eyes are watering, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. And at that moment, my brother comes in the door, and as soon as he walks in, he breathes and he said, what did you do? And I said, I don't know, I just click this thing that's in the cabinet. And he was like, what thing? And I said, this thing. And I go and climb on the cabinet and I grab it down and I show him. He says, that's pepper spray. And I said, I didn't know, I just thought it was a lighter. He said, what made you think it was a lighter? And I said, it said Spitfire. And so anyway, we had to open up all the windows in the house and called my mom, and she just laughed, and he just wanted to get me in trouble. But long story short, if you see something that looks like a lighter but it says Spitfire on it, it's probably pepper spray. So don't use it unless you're trying to shoot a criminal with it. So that's all I got for you. Thanks. I don't know what to do now. Hey, if you have a funny story too, let us know in the comments down below. We want to laugh with you, we want to cry with you, and we want to have fun together. So, and maybe we'll share your story on here. Who knows? But let us know in the comments below, because I love funny stories. So tell us a funny story down there.